Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to vote no and defeat the previous question so we can bring up my bill, H.R. 5256, the Expanding DHS Overseas Passenger Security, Screening, and Vetting Operations Act. Mr. Speaker, everybody we've talked to within the Homeland Security arena say that as Americans, we are safer if we can push our borders out. So the notion that we should wait on the bad guys to get here is a notion that obviously would put us in harm's way. So what we are proposing with this bill is enhancing the ability for us to push our borders out. We've had examples of this. They've all been successful. So this is another effort to resource the opportunity to make sure that our borders not only are just safe, but as safe from American soil as possible. So 15 years ago, Mr. Speaker, foreign terrorists carried out the most deadly and costly terrorist act on this soil. We committed ourselves to creating the Department of Homeland Security. We resourced it. We put a number of agencies together. And we are, on a day-to-day basis, tracking bad people all over the world, preventing bad people from getting into the United States. And to our credit of our men and women, they're doing a good job. But you know, we are only as good as the resources that we put to fight terrorism. So this, again, is one of the tools in the tools kit that we've identified that we have to have, which is to push our borders out so that we can not only keep Americans safe, but we can keep, through our vetting process, our enhanced vetting process, to keep bad people out. So as the 9/11 Commission, Mr. Speaker, reported, the terrorists that carried out this heinous act on 9/11 were able to exploit legitimate channels of travel to the U.S. from countries around the globe. There's no question about that. To prevent terrorist travel, the Department of Homeland Security has made significant efforts to expand its presence and partnership around the world to vet passengers well in advance of their arrival to the U.S. For instance, Mr. Speaker, there are over 200 airports around the world, last point of departure airports to speak of, where unless we can vet all those individuals who are trying to come here, they can't get on the plane. So what we're trying to do is continue to enhance that effort and others to make sure that anyone trying to get to this country, and we can identify that they're bad people, that we'll keep them away. My legislation, Mr. Speaker, H.R. 5256, will strengthen the operations to deal with evolving terrorist threats, including the threat posed by individuals traveling without visas from European and other countries with visa waiver agreements to the U.S. Now, to prevent this terrorists and other dangerous people from entering the U.S., Mr. Speaker, this legislation directs DHS to strategically expand its program that vet and screen travelers. It specifically offers key DHS vetting and screening programs. It also provides for an additional 2,000 Customs Border Protection officers for not only overseas operation, but also to address domestic shortages, particularly at U.S. international airports. Mr. Speaker, even as we absorb the events of this weekend, where Americans carried out terrorist attacks in Minnesota, New York, and New Jersey, we must do all we can to prevent foreign terrorists, including an estimated 3,000 European trained as foreign fighters by ISIL, from entering the United States. Defeating the previous question, Mr. Speaker, will allow members to consider my bill, H.R. 5256, that will do just that. Again, Mr. Speaker, we are only as good as we resource the department to fight terrorism. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.